Hi folks. Right, I did a small one yesterday. This is just from the £140 A5 Langton paper, dated Rowney. So I'll be out later shortly, but I want to get this one done for you. I don't know what I'm going to do, as usual. But I'm going to use Frank Clark's little hake. Now, to repeat myself 2,000 times, my palette, with the exception of the yellow, I've inherited this one. So I've inherited the book from a friend who gave up all her painting and gave all the paraphernalia to me. So we've got, this is Jackson's own, whoops, what's that? Bit of ultramarine. Get off. Jackson's own cadmium yellow light. It's a beautiful colour, very, very powerful, but it is an artist quality. The rest of my palette are just common. And there we go. So we've got raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine. I don't use the burnt umber. I can make it with burnt sienna and the Payne's grey. So there we are. That's that. I've tried to set this up so that you can see the mixing, although I hold the palette quite often, and watch the painting. So I'm going to wet the paper, leaving some bits unpainted, I hope. We've got a bit of raw sienna. Look, see, I'll pick it up now. Just wants a light wash. Okay, that'll do. Now I'll put a bit of ultramarine in over that. We'll add a little bit of, whoops, not one of my brushes on the floor. Right, touch of light red. I like light red. Just warm that bit up a bit. Look, nice. Oh, let's bring that into the sky. Okay. All my skies are very experimental, but being right-handed, you always start from the right. It's just right. Now we're going to put in some heavier stuff. So we want a bit of Payne's grey, bit of blue, add a bit of yellow to that. So we've got a nice the paper's at about 15 degrees. It's quite a shallow angle. Oh, just showing. So I don't draw my horizons with pencil, but you can. All's fair in love and war. Let's get a little bit darker with these. Just how to paint a simple lake scene by wetting wet painting, which I always do for watercolours. That's going to dry much lighter. I would just let that to sort of run down into that wet. Let's have saturate a bit. Put that yellow. It's just going to be a simple one. See, I've only just creating shapes now. As that falls down or comes down into the horizon here, just lift out a little bit of the wet and just create a distance. Right, okay, that could be a bit wetter there, so let's just drag some of that down here. So I've got faint reflections, but I do like just getting that water's edge there, the wind ruffle. Well, we'll let that go. Right now we want some foreground, don't we? So I'll carry on with the Sizzle Hake. A bit of yellow, and just put in some foreground. Bit of Payne's grey, bit of that green. Just dashing about in here, just enjoying myself. Just using the palette paint at the moment. Well, let's have a little bit of red in there. Just warm it up a little bit. Now the paper, if you're confused about wetting wet, it means like wetting the paper and letting it settle, and then you paint into it your initial washes, and as it dries it will take more paint, but you've got to try these things. I was trying to do these things 40 years ago and struggling because in those days we didn't really have anybody to help. We had to buy the books, but I must say I learned a lot by joining an art group, the local art group, very good group, Carshalton and Wallington, where I live. And because it was a large group with about 90 members, we could afford to pay for demonstrations. Well, I do them myself now, but people like Ebel Wesson, Keith Birkinshaw, even David Bellamy, and the late great what's his brain goes dead. The acrylic painter, Terry Harrison. Very, very entertaining. In a couple of hour session, minus about half hour of tea break, he would do 3 acrylic demonstrations. I've got one of them here. I don't use it. I bought it for £25. It's worth a lot more now. It was just a demonstration of painting wetting wet, using acrylic, but using acrylic as watercolour. Now there's a thing. I'm not going to do one, but well, I might. The thing with acrylic paint is that it bleeds out, you like this, and then all of a sudden it stops, and you get like a tide mark around it. So what he used to do was his skies in watercolour, and then the rest of it with acrylic. And he used quite a lot of masking tape, which I don't like. I don't use. Right. Don't know whether we want to do any more to that. I know the horizon's just a little bit. Shall we put some? Let's put some bushes in the foreground. Say put those trees in there. So a bush, a nice bush, Payne's grey, and this lovely yellow. It's very, very strong. Right, now that's as simple a painting as you can get, or I can get. So I'll take this off. It gives it a nice border, nice. Look, it confines it to the smaller size. Yeah, Terry Harrison. I got a couple of DVDs somebody gave me of him, but sadly he died a couple of years ago. And he was only, well, I don't know how young he was. So he was probably in his 60s. But he was a brilliant demonstrator. So you can look for him on. I don't know. He won't be on YouTube. I don't think he is. He might be. But probably certainly on Google Gallery. Now the paper's still wet, that's why it's buckling now. But I'll upload this for you. This is just a simple demonstration of painting the reflection, although I haven't made a very good job of that. So a little tip if you do this is just to wet underneath that, get your colour and just touch. There we go, oops. Look, there you get your reflection. The reflection, provided your board is quite shallow, the paint will gradually work its way down into the wet and pull the trees, whatever you've got in the background, down like that. Very, very simple. So if you're a beginner, just have a go at this sort of thing. I'll just enlarge it. Oops. I've got a mount that will fit that, just about. Oh, not that one. Well, there we are. That'll do. A bit of a scruffy mount. All my mounts are scruffy because I've used them so much. We could put a little bird in there with a rigger. I won't put that one in. It's not dry enough. Well, there we are. That just finishes off, doesn't it? Okay, folks. Well, thanks for watching. I've got this uploaded for you right now, and then if I get time later, I'll do another acrylic. Bye bye.